Hello and welcome back to the IrishRacing.com YouTube channel. I'm your host Emma Nagle, and today I'm going to be doing a runner by runner guide to the Aintree Grand National. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and definitely subscribe to the channel because there's loads of great content coming out over the next few weeks. Number 1, last year's winner, I Am Maximus, JP McManus, Willie Mullins and Paul Town. And the pluses are, obviously won this last year, took to the fences really well, stays all day. Paul Town and stays loyal, which is a plus. He would have had a few choices in the race. Negatives are, we haven't seen that much of I Am Maximus this year. Only ran twice, pulled up on his first start since winning this last year. Ran okay then next time behind Gallopin Des Champs at the Dublin Racing Festival. Seems to be good word coming from the Mullins camp lately around his well-being, and the fact that Paul stays loyal means he must be in good form at home. Has a bit more to do now with a lot more weight this year, but definitely a live contender given the way he loved the track last year. Number 2, Royal Pagaille for Venetia Williams and Charlie Deutsch, carrying 11 stone 9. He can be backed as big as 100 to 1. Definitely a class act on his day over staying trips, but has a bit to prove here. He's a dual Betfair Chase winner around Haydock, but has to overcome 3 disappointing runs in a row now. You'd imagine rain would have definitely helped his causes, but drying ground at Aintree, I find it hard to fancy him. 100 to 1, not for me. Number 3, Nick Rocket, carrying 11 stone 8. Another one for Willie Mullins, this time with his son Patrick taking the ride. He can be backed at around 25 to 1 for this year's National. Definitely an up and coming, improving type of horse. Won the Tyestes Chase in Gorham Park earlier this year. Went out and won the Bobby Joe Chase then next time at Fairyhouse. It's always a good trial for a Grand National winner. He beat Intense Raffles that day, last year's Irish national winner, who will be reopposing here today. He meets that rival on much worse terms again. He's carrying a lot of weight, but definitely is a horse on the up. Wouldn't be totally against him, but not one on my shortlist. Next up, number 4, Grange Clare West, another from the Willie Mullins team, this time carrying 8 stone 11 under Brian Hayes for Sheveley Park stud. Grange Clare West can be backed at 20 to 1. Definitely a horse with plenty of ability. He was a grade 1 winning novice chaser last year. We haven't seen an awful lot of him over fences, only 6 runs. He's had a few issues, and he's a horse who's shown massive sparks of ability at times, but just struggles to find consistency. He had a really promising run behind Gallopin Des Champs in the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown, but definitely disappointed big time next time at Navan, where he ran no type sort of race at all. It's hard to fancy him coming here on the back of that, so Grange Clare West probably not one for me either. Number 5, carrying 11 stone 7, the 800-pound horse Hewick needs no introduction, I suppose. Being reunited with his King George winning rider Gavin Sheehan, I think Shar Cannon has a huge chance of winning this year's Aintree Grand National. He's not far off being a proper grade 1 staying chaser when he gets his conditions, and I think conditions should be just perfect for Hewick come Saturday in Liverpool. The sun is shining, the ground should be just beautiful. I think these new style Aintree fences are really going to suit Hewick's running style. He'll be able to brush straight through the top of that birch. I think with a bit of luck on the way around, I'd find it hard to see him being out of the mix-up anyway, at least. Got a nice racing weight. Hewick, I think, is probably my main fancy for the Aintree Grand National. I'm hoping Shark will have something to celebrate in Liverpool Saturday evening. Number 6, the 12-year-old Manila Endo, carrying 11 stone 3 for Rachel Blackmore and Henry de Bromhead. Ran a great race in this last year when he was third. Maybe a little bit forgotten about coming into this year's renewal. He was carrying level weights with I Am Maximus last year, and he's actually getting £9 from that rival this time around. Haven't seen a whole pile of him this year, which probably inflated his price a little bit. He can be backed at 33 to 1, which looks huge considering we know he likes the track and we know he stays the trip. Henry de Bromhead will always have his horses peaking for these spring festivals, so might be a little bit dangerous to underestimate Manila Endo at big prices. Number 7, the 11-year-old Appreciator, carrying 11 stone 2 for Sean O'Keefe, and again Willie Mullins can be backed as big as 80 to 1. A former Cheltenham Festival winner, definitely has the ability to mix it at the top table, but another one who maybe struggles to get a consistent run of form, can maybe not always put his best foot forward. His best trip as well maybe might be questionable. He's coming into here on the back of a good win in Thurles, alright, but I don't know, I think he might be better over 2.5 miles, so stretching out to this extreme trip is a bit of a question mark for me. He jumps fairly well, which will be a plus, but I'd be happy enough to look past Appreciated here. Number 8, yet again another Willie Mullins runner. Manila Cocooner, the 9-year-old, carries 11 stone 2 under Johnny Burke. Last year's Whitbread Chase winner, has bundles and bundles of stamina, good jumper, experience in these big field handicap chases without being overly exposed either. He has only had 10 runs over fences. A grade 1 winning novice, definitely a class act. Wouldn't be one I totally underestimate. Definitely will stay the trip. If he jumps around and has a bit of luck, he won't be overly far away, but I think there might be better horses in the race. Number 9, Conflated, carrying 11 stone 2 for Jordan Gainford, Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown House. He can be backed as big as 100 to 1. Definitely a high class horse on his day, in his day, but his day unfortunately might be behind him at this stage. Looks to be fighting a bit of a battle with Father Time at 11 years of age now. A one-time Irish Gold Cup winner, Savills Chase winner, a really high class staying chaser, but probably up against it now at his age. He jumps well, should make it around safely, but others are definitely preferred and probably a deservedly big price. Number 10, Stumptown, carries 11 stone 2 for Gavin and Cromwell and Keith Donoghue. The 8-year-old was a winner of the Cheltenham Cross Country event last time we saw him, and interesting that they reached for the first time blinkers for this year's Grand National. He was fitted with first time cheek pieces when going for the cross country at Cheltenham. They seem to work a treat, and we'll see will the blinkers eke out even more improvement now. He's a horse you kind of feel maybe you haven't really reached the ceiling of his abilities yet, and blinkers might bring out that little bit more. He loves the test of a cross-country course, so this Grand National course should be right up his alley. One of the main market protagonists at around 8 to 1, and deservingly so. Gavin Cromwell has a really strong hand, and this lad is at the top of his, I suppose, string to go to war with. Number 11, Hitman, carrying 11 stone 1 for Paul Nicholls and Freddie Gingle, can be backed as big as 100 to 1. I think his trainer has better chances in the race. Hitman finds it very hard to win normally. He hasn't won a race in going on 3 years now, I think. I don't think the trip will be up his alley. I don't think he's ever won past 2 mile 5, so Hitman not on the top of my shortlist. Number 12, Beauport, carrying 11 stone 1 for the Twiston Davis team. Nigel and son Sam taking the ride. He can be backed at 28 to 1 for this year's National. He was last year's Midlands National winner. He's in good form of late. Probably your traditional idea when you're thinking of a Grand National winner, but I'd be worried he could be outclassed in the modern renewal of the race, I suppose, which wouldn't make him for me, but he should run a solid race all the same. Number 13, Brave Man's Game, another one for Paul Nicholls. This time James Reevely taking the ride. He's going to carry 11 stone and can be backed as big as 50 to 1. The 10-year-old Brave Man's Game, one-time Gold Cup second, a really, really talented horse in his prime. Like I said, second in the 2023 Gold Cup, but kind of failed to sparkle that, capture that kind of sparkle since. That kind of clash with Galopin Des Champs hasn't really shown that level of form since then. Maybe these fences might bring back a bit of that spark to him. Definitely a horse who liked the ground. Maybe this trip he might need it nowadays. He's getting that bit older. He definitely jumps well enough for a national. Wouldn't be what I'd totally discount at 50 to 1, but will definitely need to get a bit of a revival from the fences, I suppose, because he doesn't look to be the same horse lately. Number 14, Chantry House, the 11-year-olds, carrying 10 stone 13 for Nicky Henderson and James Bowen. Another former Grade 1 winner in the field, but his Grade 1 days are probably a bit past him now. He did win off 149 at Cheltenham Handicap, not Festival Handicap, it's a normal Cheltenham Handicap over 3 miles off 149 in January, but disappointed a few weeks later then. Looks like a bit of an uphill battle against this quality opposition. Number 15, 3 under through 5, 10-year-olds carrying 10 stone 12, again for Paul Nicholls. This time Harry Skelton taking the ride. He's, I suppose, well known to anyone who follows that staying handicap chase division in the UK. He's a regular, probably well exposed at this stage. He does stay well, he jumps well enough. Not sure how much he'll have up his sleeve against the handicapper now, and against horses who you'd imagine maybe have a little bit more improvement in them. I think he might struggle slightly, but should run a nice enough race for Harry Skelton. Number 16, Percival Lagelwa for Gavin Cromwell, Mark Walsh and JP McManus, carries 10 stone 12 and can be backed at around 12 to 1. On a 3-time winning streak, he's going for his hat-trick of wins. I thought this was a horse who looked well exposed, 8-year-old, had a few chances in big handicaps and didn't seem to take them. Even when he was backed into favouritism a couple of times, he disappointed, including the Kerry National last year, but came out last twice, won the Paddy Power Chase at Christmas at Leopardstown, and then won a handicap hurdle at the Dublin Racing Festival as well. So seems to be just in the form of his life, really. Hard to rule him out completely. I do think his trainer has better chances. But a horse in good form, can't rule him out. Not for me, but Percival Galloway has to be respected. Number 17, Can Do Kid for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden, carries 10 stone 11 and can be backed at around 20 to 1. This year's Hennessy winner. This sounds like it's been a long-term plan from Paul Nicholls to lay this lad out for the Grand National. He's a 9-year-old, but still quite lightly raced, so looks unexposed, still off the handicap mark. Maybe didn't run as exciting at his last step, or that was shopping back and trip. He seemed to stay out the trip really well in the Hennessy, and you'd imagine even stepping up again will suit him even more. He's a brilliant jumper, so you'd imagine the test of the National will suit him well. First string from the Paul Nicholls yard, who have a strong enough team going for the National. I think he has to be feared at 20 to 1. Not on my particular shortlist, but the fancy of plenty of people. Number 18, Iroko, is a very interesting contender, running in the JP McManus Silks. John Joe O'Neill Jr. taking the ride. He's carrying 10 stone 11. It was a kind of a leading, I suppose, Grade 1 novice chasing hope last year for the stable, but missed a bit of time and found it a little bit difficult when he came back. He has been, I suppose, more than eye-catching on a few starts this season. Well worth watching a few of his runs back if you get a bit of time between now and Saturday. He's a leading fancy for this year's renewable, about 7 or 8 to 1, depending where you go. Seems to jump well enough. It seems to have been a long-term plan from Connections to go for this. I think he'll probably stay the trip. He's very dangerous, but still, I think I'm going to oppose him with something else. He's not my leading fancy for this. Number 19, Intense Raffles for Tom Gibney, JJ Slevin, and the double green partnership of Simon Menier and Isaac Swade. The 7-year-old won last year's Irish National in the manner of a horse who could have any amount of ability, and I think he could be really dangerous to oppose here off 10 stone 10. We haven't seen a whole pile of him over fences since he won the Irish National last year. They kind of seem to have been targeting the National with him. We saw him second in the Bobby Joe Chase last time. That was a really good run given the conditions of the race. I just thought the way he won the Irish National, like he could have been a Gold Cup horse, he could have been absolutely anything. They decided to target the Grand National. I think it'll be a race that will suit him. He jumps really well, he settles, he's really straightforward and uncomplicated. The only thing you would prefer for him is a bit more rain. I think softer ground would really play to his strengths, but maybe over the extended trip it won't make too much difference. Intense Raffles definitely one up the top of my shortlist for this year's renewal. Number 20, the 8-year-old Senior Chief, carries 10 stone 10 for Henry de Bromhead and Darrow O'Keefe. He was a handicap chase winner at the Cheltenham October meeting. He was a leading fancy for last year's Irish National, but disappointed. I'd be fearful that the handicapper may have a hold of him now. Henry's horses will come good for the spring festivals, but I think he's opposable now. Number 21, the 11-year-old Ida's Boy, will carry 10 stone 10 for Orr Phillips and Harry Bannister taking the ride. Can be backed as big as 100 to 1. This will be his second run since joining his new yard in England. Was, I suppose, a very talented horse when trained by Noel Meade and running in the Gigginstown House colours, but definitely plagued with injury issues throughout his career. We didn't see a whole pile of Ida's Boy, which was a pity. Was disappointing on his first run for the yard in Doncaster since making the changeover. Very hard to fancy him. Number 22, Phil Dore. The 7-year-old carries 10 stone 9 for Gordon Elliott and Sam Ewing. Another outsider in the field, can be backed as big as 80 to 1. I suppose he's been ultimately disappointing since changing hands for big money at the Caldwell dispersal sale. I think it was €620,000 he was bought for that time. Disappointing since, finds it hard to get his head in front. I'd have huge stamina concerns here. He's never won past 2 mile 6. So Phil Dore, not for me in the National. Number 23, Broadway Boy for Nigel Twiston-Davis, this time Tom Bellamy, taking the ride on the 7-year-old carrying 10 stone 9. Another big price, 80 to 1 for this year's renewal. Should have the stamina reserves to see out the trip, should jump well enough. He's a solid kind of a handicap chaser, but again, another one who I think might be outclassed in the modern version of the Grand National. Probably more of a traditional type of Grand National horse, but up against Grade 1 types, Broadway Boy might just struggle. Number 24, the 10-year-old grey Cocoa Beach carrying 10 stone 9. Another one from Gordon Elliott's team, Jody McGarvey taking the ride on Gigginstown House's chaser. He can be backed, I think, as big as 100 to 1, so another relative outsider in the field. Cocoa Beach is a real kind of sturdy, solid type of horse, though. A reliable old handicapper who may be unfortunately past his best now at this stage. He does have a pretty good record over these fences. He was a good second in the Beecher a couple of years ago and ran okay in the National last year as well. Find it hard to make a strong case to back Cocoa Beach, but hopefully he'll put in a nice round jumping. Number 25, Stay Away Faye. One-time Albert Bartlett novice hurdle winner at the Cheltenham Festival. The 8-year-old now carries 10 stone 9 under Paul O'Brien for Paul Nichols and can be backed as big as 80 to 1 for this year's National. His Grade 1 novice hurdle days are a long way behind him now, totally out of form of late. You'd imagine stamina will be of no concern, but definitely has to revive himself very quickly in a very short space of time to give him much of a shout here. Hard enough to fancy. Number 26, Meeting of the Waters, the 8-year-old carrying 10 stone 7 under Danny Mullins, another one from the Willie Mullins team. Was a leading fancy for last year's National, ran quite a good race, maybe a little bit keen, didn't see out the trip fully. Was in a real good vein of form last year in the run up to that. Since joining the Mullins yard, he won a string of handicaps, including the Paddy Power at Christmas at Leopardstown. Not quite in that same vein of form this year, but coming into a lower profile might do him no harm. If he can settle a bit better this year and see out the trip, it wouldn't be a massive shock to see him running a nice race. Could be a bit of an each way shout. Number 27, 9-year-old Monbeg Genius carrying 10 stone 6. From the John Joe O'Neill stable, Nick Schofield taking the ride, and he can be backed as big as 33 to 1. A winner at Uttoxeter last time. He may not have the class of some of his rivals here. The trip should be fine, should stay well and jump well enough, but he wouldn't be for me. Number 28, Vanillier, the 10-year-old grey, carries 10 stone 6 under Sean Flanagan, another one from the Gavin Cromwell team. He's bidding to make a third time lucky, I suppose, in the Grand National. He was a massive eye catcher 2 years ago when second. Maybe didn't run to the same level last year, but showed he was in a good vein of form last time, running a great race in the cross-country chase at the Cheltenham Festival. He's in good form this year, but for me it feels like he's had his chance at the National now. He deserves to be one of the market protagonists, I suppose, but I think he might find the one better again here. Number 29, Horizon Dairy. The 8-year-old carries 10 stone 6 for Michael Keady. Kieran Gettings taking the ride on the 100 to 1 shot. He's an ex-inmate of the Mullins camp, changed stables recently. He showed initial promise in novice chases when trained by Willie here in Ireland, but kind of failed to build on that when moving into handicap company. Best run probably second in the Munster National, but form kind of regressed after that then. I find it hard to see him improving for leaving the Mullins yard. Should be a fun runner for the stable, but hard to see him getting involved. Number 30, Highland, is a really interesting runner. The 8-year-old grey carries 10 stone 6 for Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boinville. He's still a novice. This will be tough for a novice, but he's got an interesting profile. He kind of caught the public's eye, I suppose, when he won at the October and November meetings at Cheltenham. He was plunged into Grade 1 company then at Kempton at Christmas and definitely didn't disgrace himself at all. A novice with an interesting profile. He jumps. He looks like he should stay quite well. Straightforward looking type of horse. Carrying 10 stone 6. I think he liked the ground. There's not too many negatives around Highland. Being a novice, maybe a bit of a question mark, but an interesting contender for the Henderson team. Number 31, Celebrity Daland for Philip Hobbs and Micheál Nolan, 150 to 1 shot. The 13-year-old is carrying 10 stone 6. We've only seen him once this year when winning at Bangor. He had a good run in last year's Topham. He was only beaten 2 lengths in 4th, but a year older now. The extended trip of the Grand National. Likes the fences, but I don't think he should be winning this. Number 32, Three Card Bragg for Gordon Elliott and Sean Bowen. The 8-year-old is going to carry 10 stone 5 and can be backed as big as 22 to 1. Kind of a horse you'd always thought would excel over fences, but he's found it a little bit difficult to get his head in front. A second season novice now, finally broke his maiden tag over fences in Navan a couple of starts back. I think he'll enjoy the test of the National. He should stay quite well. His jumping should be good, but I'd find it hard to see him winning this. Number 33, Twig for Ben Pauling. Bo Morgan taking the ride on this 10-year-old, carrying 10 stone 5, and he can be backed at 50 to 1. Don't think I would back him at 50 to 1 or possibly even double that. Twig probably making up the numbers, you'd imagine. I don't think he's shown anything recently to suggest that he can win this realistically. Hopefully a nice safe round for connections. Number 34, the last on the list for this year's Grand National, Duffel Coat. Another one for Gordon Elliott. Danny Gilligan taking the ride on this 8-year-old grey, carrying 10 stone 4 bottom weight in the 2025 Aintree Grand National. Duffel Coat is a horse with talent, but it's almost a year since his last win in the Mayo National. He was second in last year's Galway Plate, so he's a horse definitely with talent, but I think still could be a little bit out of his depths in what is a really classy Grand National in 2025.